So we're going to be building out this component right here today. So this is like a little card that tracks your history of workouts. So every time you complete a workout, it's going to show up on the home page as a little card like this. Now before we actually create the card, we're going to just add a quick thing to the current workout page. We're going to create a little button right here that we can click on. And when we click on it, it's basically going to save the current workout to the history. And then we're basically just going to render that history as cards. So that's the game plan for today. So let's go ahead and start with that button that I mentioned. So we're going to pop on over to the current workout screen, and we're just going to add a button. And now I'm just going to add a button at the very bottom here. So it can go between the workout timer and everything else. And this is going to be a React Native button. And we can set the title. I'm just going to say save here, and I'm going to just say all caps for it. And looks like I just need to add an on press, and the error will go away. Cool. So we'll talk about what we're actually going to put in the on press in a second. Let's just see if the button shows up. Awesome, it does. So next in this on press, what we're going to do is we first want to basically put the current workout. If we look at our workout store, we have an array of current exercises. And so basically we want to store that in the workout history over here and given a particular day. And if we remember what this workout history is, we can look up here what we did. This is going to be a key, which is going to be the day and then the exercises that they did that day. And this value, someone recommended switching it so we have it formatted with the year up front. So I'm going to go ahead and do that as well. The workout history is basically equivalent to a current exercise, which has these properties. So we can go ahead and just say an array of current exercises is going to be the workout history. So I'm going to just move this down here. And so here, I'm going to say current workout or current exercise an array. So basically on a given day, someone did an array of current exercises is the idea. So we don't really need this anymore. This is common. It's not really representative of what we're doing. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take this array and save it in the history at a current day. So that means we're going to say root store dot workout, and then here we're going to say history, and then here we're going to actually, we're not going to do it like that. We're going to say dot, or I guess in our case, a string. And so this is where we're going to actually say like a date like that. And then what we're going to set it equal to is the array of exercises. So root store dot workout store dot history, or sorry, dot current exercises. There we are. And then basically this array here, we're just going to clear. So then we're going to set that to an empty array. And then after that, we're going to go to a different page. And again, I'm hard coding the date here, but we're going to deal with that in a second. And this, we're just going to go back to the home page after you save the workout. So I'm going to say history.push, push, and we're going to go to ./ or just the slash, which is the home page. In history, we're going to get from the props here. So let's add the prop type here, or the TypeScript type. So we're going to say route component props, and then here we have access to that now. So let's see this in action. So if I save this, it looks like either something crashed or did not push to the state. Cannot set the property that of undefined. I hope that would make sense. So if we go back to our route store or our workout store, we just actually never define this. So I'm going to set the default value to an empty object like that. All right. Yes. So this is no longer a list. This is an object. All right. And cool. No more complaints. Hit save. Takes us back to this page. Awesome. So now if I were to go to that current workout screen directly, should be blank because we cleared out that array. Awesome. So I just hit back and then this is blank. That was weird. Okay, it's loading still now. Anyway, so the next thing is to actually format what the current day is. So we're going to be using day.js since we're already using that in this project, and they have a dot format function that we're going to use, and then we can format into a specific date we want. So what we're going to do is we're going to say year, then the month, and then the day, and the day is going to be padded with a 0 too. So here, go back to our store or our current workout screen, and at the bottom here, instead of hard coding the date, we're going to get the current day here, and then we're going to say dot format. And looks like that auto imported for me. For some reason it says require here though, so I'm just going to change that to from. There we are. All right, so we're going to say year, and here we're going to say month, then day. So give that a save. And then if I open up my application, I can see what the state of everything is. So here's the exercises that I did on this date. And I can create a workout, click on some days or some exercises, and hit save. So this is kind of odd. It was kind of like floating there. But when I move this, it's anchored at the bottom now. Interesting. So notice how this, when we scroll deeper in the page, this is always there. I think I might need to like change this to some kind of like anchoring it to the bottom always. I'm not sure exactly what CSS or style we're gonna have to apply to it to get that to fix, so we'll fix that in a future video. Anyway, let's give this a save, and now if we go to our application state, we should see a new day, which is today's current date for me, and we can see the exercises. So awesome. So next up is, now that we're actually saving stuff in the history, we want to display them here in card form. So first off, you'll notice that the card over there is kind of resembling the card here. So I figured we would abstract kind of the logic that we used, well, not really logic, but the style that we used for the card here into its own component so we can reuse that. So I'm going to create a new file here, which I'm just going to call card. And this is going to say a React hook, though we're not really going to use any hooks in this particular component. And here we don't really need any particular props, at least right now, so I'm just going to leave them blank. And we're just going to render a view, and we're just going to render the children. So the children is a default prop that when we say react.fc, that it automatically adds for us. So this, and the reason why we are putting the children here is whenever we do card like that and then say we have text like that, this is the children, so we're just making sure to actually render the children. So this view, we're going to steal the styles that we used over here. So I'm going to use my template for that, RNSS, paste in the card, and then here I'm going to say style is equal to styles.card. And now let's see if there's anything here that's very specific to what we were doing. I would say like the margin bottom here is kind of specific to it. And also, I guess the padding was sufficient, but the margin bottom is kind of specific to that particular component. So I'm going to remove the margin bottom here. And I'm going to come back to the workout card, and we're going to remove it here. And instead we might just say like container, or I guess like card container, and that's going to have the margin bottom on it. So now here I can render this card, and you'll notice without the margin, I believe the cards will stick together. I think, yep, they'll stick together, so we can just wrap them with a card container, and that'll add the margin. So a view, and then we're going to say styles.cardContainer. Nice. All right. So now we're going to come back over here, and we're going to use that card component to display over here. So we're going to say history card.tsx, and this is going to use that card that we just created. So we're going to say card here. And then what do we want inside of our card, right? So if we look at the thing over here, we're basically taking the day that this workout happened, and then the current exercises that occurred there. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say the day, which I'm going to just take as a string. So if they want to pass something else, like for example ongoing in, they can. And then here we're going to take the current exercises, and we're going to say current exercise. And it looks like we didn't export it, so I'm just going to go to our workout store and export this type. And current exercise, and that's going to be an array. So we're going to have our day and our current exercises. Oh, you know what? Did I misspell? Yep, I misspelled it here. Exercises. Yep, that looks good. Actually, exercises with an S. There we go. I think that's right. Spelling's pretty hard though. All right, so inside of our card here, we're going to render those. Whoops, there we are. So we're gonna have text at the very top, and again we're just going to render the day here. So we're gonna do any kind of formatting on that, on the particular, and we could even just say like header is more generic of what we're really rendering here. They can pass whatever they want in. And then at the bottom here, well, let's actually first just import all this stuff. Import that, import our card. And then we're basically going to loop through the current exercises that the user did that day, and basically give a prefix of that. So squat is SQ, bench press is BP. So I guess there's like a mapping of shorthand here. So like the exercise shorthand, and maybe we should put this in our store, is this type. I'm not sure the best place to create this map, but we can say exercise short name. So here we can say squat is SQ, and if we take a look at our workout store, I forget what I was naming them. I think maybe in the workout history. All right, so I did a capital S is that, so we're gonna say squat here, and this should really be a capital right there. All right, and let's see, I guess I can just write them out because I remember them. So we have deadlift, that's gonna be DL. We're gonna have bench press, BP, overhead press, and let's just make sure I name this what I think I named it. Oh, you know, we haven't even, oh, I did a capital P on that as well. So let's make sure I match that. And I didn't actually, and maybe I should store this overhead press. Maybe I should store these values in some kind of enum or something. That way I'm using the exact same name everywhere, or put them in a constant variables, I mean. That would be better. Oh, I just should be OHP. And then the last one is row. Row. Purpose being that I just did this is just so we can have the little short acronyms for what we're going to display here. So let's map through the current exercises. And then for each exercise, we're going to render some text. And the key for this, since we're mapping, I don't think there's really anything unique about a particular exercise. I guess maybe the name we know is going to be unique. Because what I was thinking is maybe you could have the same name multiple times, but why don't we use that for the key? I think it's pretty safe. So here we'll say the exercise. So inside of here, the string that they were using was first the name. So we're going to use our exercise short name map, and then we're going to pass in the exercise itself. And I'm guessing it's going to get mad at us because it's not one of these keys. So I'm just going to say as any, or you know what? I think it actually wants us to say key of and type of exercise short name. There we go. So basically the reason why I had to do this particular notation, so this is a TypeScript thing. So basically we created a map right here, which it maps to squat maps here, deadlift maps here, bench maps here, right? And so if I hover over the type, you'll notice it says these are the only keys available. So I have to say, I can't just pass a string as the key. I have to pass a key of one of these things. So the way I can do that is I can say type of this, and then the key of means grab one of these. Now the other thing I could do is instead I could say this is an object which the key is a string and it maps to a string, and then I wouldn't have to do that. So either one would work, but notice I'm going to lose the auto completion. So if I were to say like exercise short name dot, I can't do dot squat. It's not going to know that that exists because I kind of removed that. I'm going to go with this approach because it types it the best, or it's the strictest. So okay, so I put a space, and then here is basically how much, how many sets they did and how many reps they did. So here we're gonna say there's an X in the middle, and we're gonna say c.sets by a number of reps, and this should be num sets, and I don't think I did num reps, I just did reps. And then lastly, the weight that they did it at. All right. Let's just see what this looks like now to get a gist of what's going on, and then we might need to style some of these things. And I think everything should be a single line, so I think this looks okay. So we'll go to our index. I guess our index is really workout history page. And I'm not going to worry about what we have here. I'm going to just put the button underneath. We're going to deal with the button in a different video. So here I'm going to say root store dot history dot map. So for each workout, oh, you know what? We can't map over the history because the history is a object. So I'm going to say object dot entries. So what object.entries does is it turns an object into an array, and this array has two values, or not two values, but the array, what it is each entry or each, or I guess item in the array is an array of itself, and we can destructure it. And the first is going to be the key, and the second is going to be the value. So value makes sense. The key in this case is going to be the date. Maybe we'll just say DT there. So here I'm going to say return, and then here I can say with the workout history, as we're looping through, we're going to just render a history card for each one. The key is going to be the day, so we can pass in DT there. And then here we can pass in I guess what else we need to pass in? We pass the props of, oh, we just didn't import it maybe? No, we have the props passed in. It wasn't giving me auto completion, so I was just want to double check and make sure I didn't mess something up. That's usually like a cue that I did mess something up. All right, so header. Now the header is kind of interesting because basically we need to take this date and reformat into something prettier. But I'm just going to display the date right now because the date here is just going to be a string, and that's fine for now. And then we can make it prettier in a second. And then the current exercises is going to be the value. Oops, go this way. All right, so here's our cards. So we'll notice the cards are taking the entire screen width. So I want to first, I guess, split them so there are two columns. So I'm thinking a for each loop in this case may be easier to create those rows instead of a mapping. So we're going to give that a try. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an array here called const rows, and that's going to be an array. And really what this is an array of is JSX elements. And I guess it's an array of arrays. So we'll do it like that. And then we're going to say, copy this, dot for each. And then same thing here. This is still, we still have to do it in this manner where the first value is the date, second value is the value. I'm going to say rows.push. And I think what we're going to do is basically on even elements. so we need the index. We're going to push on to the array, or create a new array, and on odd elements we're going to push on. There may be a simpler way to do this, but we're going to say if the current index mod 2 is equal to 0, we know it's even, and we're basically just going to say rows.push, and then here we're going to push on our item, which in this case is a history card. All right. And otherwise, if it's an odd element, all we're going to do is get the last item in the rows and append to it. So we're going to say else rows.length -1 .push, and we're going to push on to that. And we're still going to create a history. So notice we're going to do this twice. So I'm going to just say, instead of doing it twice, I can say const history card and do that. So basically what we're doing is at the end, we're going to have an array that looks something like this. So we're going to have a history card and another history card, and we're just going to have pairs of 2 like that. Because basically whenever we hit an even, we're going to push on a new array, and whenever it's odd, we're going to fill the array like that. All right, let's go ahead and now render our rows. So come down here, I'm going to say rows.map, and for each row, we basically are going to render a view, and then just put the other stuff inside of it like that. And the key here is going to be the index. So now we definitely need to create a style for this. So we're going to say RNSS row, and I guess the first row is going to be a flex direction, or first style I mean. It's a flex direction row. All right, so style styles.row. Give that a save. See what that looks like. And now we're getting much more of a row shaped, or at least we only have 2, so let's save a couple more. You know what? We're going to be saving this, and it's just going to be saving over the item. Yeah, see how we're just saving more items onto this, I guess? Do this again. Interesting. I guess maybe I just had multiple items on it. That's why I did that. I think the best way to do this, because I basically just want to fill this with some more items. So I basically kind of just want like a random date is the idea. So let's see. If I go to my workout history, is that where we're creating it? No, our current workout. So basically I just need a random date. I don't even know the best way to generate that. So I just looked up how we actually create random dates, and I found this nice Stack Overflow, and I'm basically just going to copy and paste this and just see if this works for the purposes of just generating some fake data for us. So I'm just going to paste that right inside of the day.js function, and let's start creating some fake dates. Awesome. So it looks like it does in fact work. And this is just some fake data for us so we can see some days being rendered. Now this video is getting quite long, and we still need to clean this up a little bit, so I think we'll finish this up in the next video and kind of tidy this up and get organized, centered, styled better.